at the point where we're going to try to take this stainless ring that we've turned and shrink fit it to the barrel of the cannon. The cannon barrel, we're going to shrink that down. The only way I have to do is I put it in the freezer. I have an old freezer behind the shop. I wrapped it in a blanket and it's been in the freezer for about 2 days. Now this ring was turned about 4,000 smaller than the actual diameter of the barrel. So theoretically, when we heat it up, it's going to expand that bigger than that 4,000s. We're going to drop it on and it's going to shrink. Now the general rule of thumb for shrink fitting stuff is, rough rule, is 1,000th per inch in diameter per 100 degrees. So if we had a 1-inch diameter ring and we heated it to 100 degrees, it would grow by 1,000th. If we had a 4-inch diameter ring and we heated it by 100 degrees, it would grow by 4,000ths. That's rough rule. Now, as far as heating temperature, all I have to go by here is a little thermal infrared temp gun. I know it's not going to exact. We have roughly a 4-inch ring. It's just under 4 inches on the inside diameter. So we're going to heat this up to around 350 to 400 degrees. And when it expands, we're going to grab it with the pliers and drop it on. For gloves, I'm just using a pair of my MIG Welding. These are Lincoln's roll cage gloves. I like them. They work well for me and they're pretty heavy. It's the heaviest gloves I have here. I've got a brass drift and a brass hammer if I have to give it a little motivation to get it into that final spot. And then I have a couple pairs of channel lock pliers. And the idea here is this: you're going to see me when I fire the torch up, I'm going to put some heat on the end of these. Now I'm not going to get them roasting hot. What I'm after is to put a couple 100 degrees in them, maybe 250, 300 degrees in them. And the reason I want to put that in just in the tips, not all back here in the handles, is these are, outside air temperature is probably around 92 degrees today. So these are about 92 degrees. Well, this thing is, let's just for sake, say 400 degrees, and we grab it in 2 spots with these. These act like a chill or a heat sink, and they start pulling the heat away and shrinking it in 2 spots and making it change shape. It won't be round anymore. It'll start to oblong because 2 sides are starting to contract, and that can cause us a problem. So just by putting a couple 100 degrees heat in here, the heat differential between the temperature of this and the temperature of the ring is much closer, so it doesn't become as big of a heat sink. Not that there's a lot of mass in here to heat sink away anyway, but realize we get one shot at this. If this thing goes on there and I don't get it into the right position and it doesn't go where I want it, the only option is to cut it off and make another ring. And I'm getting close to my deadline on this project and I gotta get it done. Not quite the 300 degrees yet. Getting close to 400 degrees now. I am gonna go get the barrel. All right, we got the blanket on it. Trying to keep it as cool as we can. Perfect. Perfect fit. Look at that. Yep. As the ring cools, it'll begin to contract. And it'll be a perfect fit. Look at that. It's not very often, but I love it when a plan comes together. All right, we just got a couple more machining operations to the barrel before we put the final polish on it and call it done. One of these is this trunnion ring that we've made and we shrink fit on there. I'm gonna bore this into the barrel about 230 thousandths. A little less than a 1/4 inch, but that still gives me right at 7/8 barrel thickness, which is 7/8 to 1 inch is what we wanted. And when I bore this in here, I'm going to machine a pin that's going to come out. This trunnion pin's going to come out. What it allows it to do is if that shrink fit ever gets disrupted and the shrink fit doesn't work for whatever reason, that trunnion is pinned to the barrel and through this, so it can't ever come out. Now it's going to be held in place by Loctite green, the Loctite assembly lube. I like that a lot. So I've already set my depth stop to the correct depth. I found center this way of the hole, I found center this way of the hole, and then we've rotated it in the indexing head. So we already know we can turn it 180 degrees or 20 turns here and we'll be perfectly lined up to do the other side. The last operation that we need to do is to drill the fuse hole. The trunnions are right here. This is the dead top of the barrel. We're still on center from our original setup. And I put a rod in here and measured the barrel all the way to the back, and that kind of caused a little bit of an issue. And what it is the drill bit has a point on it. So do I put the fuse here, or do I move it forward to that plane where that point on that drill bit stops? I chose to be right about here in this plane, because if I put a aluminum foil pack full of powder and I jam it in there, there's going to be a bunch of aluminum foil built up back here. So I wanted to be forward of that just a little bit. So where that shoulder on the drill bit point is, I came forward maybe an 1/8 of an inch, and that's where we're marked out right here. We're going to drill this hole right where the back of the drill bit stopped. What we need to do is make a pin that looks just like that. This pin is going to be one of the two trunnions that holds each side of the cannon barrel. I've already turned this one out. This is a piece of stainless. I believe it's 316 stainless. What I did is I put some Dykem on here. I went ahead and marked out to make sure that my depth is the same. I wind up with the same shoulder. This actually goes into the barrel and keeps that ring from ever being able to move should it ever decide to. Wow. Money. What do you know? Got that one on the first try. Alright, we'll check the depth of these two, make sure one's just about where they should be. Make sure we have a good square shoulder there. Bring the file, we'll just break the edges with the file just a little bit. Now the next thing we need to do is bring this thing to length, and this should measure out about 2 1/8 inch. Again, this isn't a critical dimension, so if we're off a couple thousandths or 10 thousandths, 15 thousandths, it doesn't make any difference. This would be like a part we would cut with a circular saw kind of fit. So what we're going to do is bring the stock up there. It's pretty hot. I've already got Dykem on here. To put just a little bit more. Got a little run out there. Let's see if we can twist it in the jaws. A piece of shaft maybe just bent a little bit. I have no idea what this came out of. I think it's a piece of marine shafting, or actually shafting for a plant. There we go. Looks good. Alrighty. What we're going to do, I realize this is not a precision measurement. It does not have to be. There's our mark right there. So what I like to do, you might have seen me do this before. I'm going to have to adjust my tool just a little bit. That'll work. I put it in neutral and bring my tip of my carbide cutter right up to there. I just like to, because sometimes it's hard for me to see that, and that really helps me see it a lot. So I'm going to make a few cuts here, just decreasing in diameter before I bring the parting tool in there, and that'll start to give me a little bit of that curve right there, so I don't have to work so hard to get that curve on it in a few minutes. So this height adjustment just slightly off center. Just a little bit. Probably got bumped when I was loading it and unloading it. Alright, what we're going to do, I'm going to take this one out of here. It's pretty hot. I'm going to put this one back in here. It's cooled off. I'm going to clean up the lathe a little bit. Get some of the swarf off the lathe. I'm going to drape it with a cover, and then I'm going to polish this one and this one, because those parts are done. Once they're polished, they're done. They're ready to go on the cannon barrel. So the time has come to put the trunnion pins in the hole. And this is kind of an exciting moment because this symbolizes basically that the cannon barrel itself is done. Pretty excited about it. And the way I'm going to retain these in here is with some Loctite retaining compound. If this was something I was going to cycle a lot of times where the barrel would get hot, might worry about it, but gotta be honest, I'm not at all. This barrel will get shot 1 or 2 times with probably half an hour, 45 minutes between it. If it comes loose, we'll just fix it. But I don't expect there to be any problems. I'm gonna be liberal with the Loctite. Brass hammer. Drive it home. I'll wipe off all the excess. Do the same thing again. Make sure we have good adhesion so we clean the pins real good. Pins came out real nice. Okay, second verse, same as the first. Liberal amounts of the green Loctite. It's a pretty good tight fit, so a lot of it's going to get displaced. There you have it. The trunnions are installed.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and like us on Facebook. Please, somewhere down below here is a link. We've got a lot more really cool stuff coming. Is that right, camera guy? Is there a link down there? Send me a comment. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Click whatever link, click something. See you soon.